Good evening. I'm Tanya Smith. If I were to say the words the Old West, each of us would have thoughts and images flood our mind. Many of you might think of famous TV shows like Gunsmoke, Bonanza, or The Lone Ranger. Many of us might have fond memories of playing shootouts in our backyard and pretending it was the OK Corral. But we may not remember that this time in our history, which we call the Old West, also had a dark side. I've been reminded of that dark side this week. We are here in Montana shooting a special on the endangered buffalo snail, and we happened across a man who people in these parts consider a legend. For whatever reason, perhaps the fresh mountain air or the mountain water, he has managed to live in obscurity to the ripe old age of 130 years. But before the Guinness Book of World Record people have gotten a hold of him, we were able to convince him to share with us the most riveting tale of a gang he led in the late 1800s. They were called the Nuf Gang. It's good to have you here, James. James? James? Are you all right?
I'm awake. I'm awake.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Well, it's a rare privilege to be speaking with you today, Mr. James.
Oh, call me Brother James.
Okay, Brother James. Well, you are quite a legend around these parts. But it's interesting that most of us haven't heard of you. We've heard of Jesse James, but that isn't you, is it?
No, but I knew him. Yeah, he was active around the same time we were. In fact, there were a few heists that we did that he got credit for. They put the wrong James in the paper.
I see. Your gang was called the Nuf Gang. Why the name? What was behind that?
Well, you see, we were good at what we did. When we set our mind to something, we did it. We used to have this motto: if we were tough enough and had what it took, someday we might read about ourselves in some book.
Well, with all due respect, Brother James, I do find it interesting that we've never heard of you before. In fact, it's just these townspeople that have heard of you and have an inkling of who you are. Can you explain that?
Well, I can, but it's painful. See, we were really good at what we did. We used to rob trains and banks all throughout the Old West. We never got caught. But then it happened that one day.
Brother James?
Was that one day when it happened, when we found out what we were really made of. You see, there was this train that nobody could rob. And I mean nobody. The James gang couldn't do it. The Clintons and the McLaurys, they couldn't do it. Even Billy the Kid tried. He couldn't do it either. No one could touch that train. It was like it was invincible.
What train are you talking about?
Well, it only had a monthly run. It went from Lost Gulch to Redemption City. Legend had it only had 2 passenger cars, but the rest...
The rest?
Well, the rest of the train was full of gold.
Gold?
You see, Redemption City lied just over the mountains there. They called it Dead Man's Crossing. No one could climb it or ride it. The only way to get there was the train. passengers that went there, they never came back. It was their choice. We never saw them again.
Amazing. But why all the gold?
No one knew. But the myth was that they had enough gold in those trains to cover all the streets and walkways in the city.
Wow. So your gang tried to stop this train?
Well, sort of.
Sort of?
Well, we never got to the train.
Well, what happened?
The memory haunts me to this day. We met like we always did, at the same spot. But this time, during our meeting, it was like the quirks that had made our gang so successful in the past. It made it destructive this time around. It was like they were magnified. It all began to fall apart.
Oh boy. Hey, say, do I look like an outlaw? I'm really excited about this. I'm a little nervous, but you know.
Shh, keep it down. Don't you know the sheriff is close by? Holy Toledo, what are you thinking, Tommy?
Line up, Pete.
Oh, okay.
Tommy, you're the new guy here. You just listen up and learn, and you'll do fine.
Come on, let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, let's get this show on the road.
That's Hal. We call him Hasty Hal. And that guy over there, that's Tex.
Howdy, kid.
You guys be quiet. I'm trying to dream about gold here.
Would you get your sorry self up? We got work to do here.
Shh. I'm just getting to the good part.
That's good. That's real good.
James, I had a cousin just like Leonard, and he's laying just like that, just laying stiff like that, and he just died. What are we gonna do when Leonard dies?
You get off me,
What are we gonna
Pete!
do if Leonard dies?
Pete,
What are we gonna do?
Pete! Listen up. Okay. I can't have you panicking every time we try to do something here. And we gotta make plans if we're gonna stop that train. Now you stand over there and just relax, all right?
Y'all can't do nothing without me. Hey kid, name's Bart. I'm the best train stopper there is.
What's a train stopper?
More like a door stopper.
Who said that?
I said you was a great train stopper.
He said you was a door stopper.
I did not say that. So what if I did?
Can we stop this crazy nonsense? We got work to do.
Hal's right. We got things to talk about, boys. Hey, where's Scully? Anyone seen him?
I'm right here.
Who's that?
He's the homeliest face walking. I said home is where you do the most talking. I mean, you should let your fingers do the walking. Well, what I really mean, Scully, is that you're just a really cool guy.
I don't know if you've all noticed, but I've got a pretty handsome face.
And whose face isn't handsome?
Well, if the cow pie fits.
Cow pie?
Well, pizza pies haven't been invented yet.
Did someone say cow pie?
Pete. Is that there a toy gun?
Yeah, it is. If it wouldn't be, I'd shoot my foot.
All right, fellas, now listen up. Now, the redemption train is going to leave Lost Gulch at 11 a.m. That means it will be at Workman's Pass at exactly noon. And that's where we're going to ambush it.
Say, I've got a question.
What's that, Leonard?
Why don't we just buy a ticket? Get on the train at Lost Gulch instead of trying to stop it.
Because we got to show all these other gangs that we're good enough to do it.
Well, just asking.
What are you looking at?
I'm waiting.
Waiting for what?
Waiting for you to ask me.
To ask you what?
Ask me about stopping trains because I know an awful lot about stopping trains.
You are a doorstop.
Them's fighting words.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't say nothing.
What?
Guys, I'm worried. We're not gonna get to the train.
That's right. Come on, guys. Hurry up or we're gonna be late. Say, I got an idea. Why instead of doing all this work, don't we just put Scully in front of the train? His face will stop it.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Hey, you're blocking the sun.
Well, your face is scary. I mean, I'd like some berries.
You know, Scully, Tex is right. Why don't you get cleaned up for a change?
Why should I worry about what my face looks like? I don't have to look at it, and neither do you.
Does this kind of stuff happen all the time with you guys? It's kind of scaring me.
Let's get back to the business at hand. James, what are we gonna do when the train gets to Workman's Pass at noon on Sunday?
We eat lunch.
Is that all you got to contribute? Laying around like a lazy bum making snide remarks? Now you listen to me. In a couple of days, not too far from here, there's gonna be a mysterious train with a lot of mysterious gold on it. Don't you think somebody should do something about that?
You know what, Hal? For once in my life, I agree with you. Maybe somebody should do something about that. I just don't believe it should be me.
Why, you little lazy! Leonard, I ought to kick you! I'm telling you,
Cool it.
we ain't got time for all this nonsense. We gotta make some plans.
We're working on it.
Then where are they? When are they coming?
Take a Valium.
What did you say to me?
I said you're strong as a stallion.
Why, you two-faced lion.
Now, Hal, let's just calm down and realize that the reason we haven't been making any progress in planning this train heist is because y'all haven't asked me what I think. Everyone here knows that I'm the best train robber ever. And the reason why we've been so successful is because of me.
Say, Bart, see that hat of yours?
Sure. Why?
I can't believe they can make a hat big enough to fit that huge melon of yours.
Why, Bart, I think you are the smartest one here.
Oh, thanks, Tex.
And the strongest.
Exactly.
Smelling.
That's it. Hal, take him out.
I ain't got time to take him out. You take him out.
All right then, draw. Did someone say the law?
I got a question. Am I gonna get hurt in this here robbery? I mean, sounds good, but I don't like pain very much.
Who's the tenderfoot?
Oh, this here is Tommy. Tommy, the only pain you'll feel is from looking at his face.
You're a dead man.
I said, I think you're great at playing rook in space.
I'm a great card player.
That does it. If we don't get things on the move, we may as well forget the whole thing.
Hal, why you always in such a hurry?
We got things to do.
What do you mean we, Kimosabe?
Maybe I do got a time to pop you one.
Now that's enough! All of you! I'm sick of this. Are you forgetting who you are? Who are we?
Good enough, gang.
I can't hear you.
Good enough, gang.
That's right, we're the Good Enough Gang. Now what's happened?
It's all his fault. He's ugly.
You're toast!
What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
So there we were, fighting over, we didn't even know. We fought for hours, and hours turned into days, and well, we never got to that train. After we stopped fighting, we realized the law was on our tail. So we disbanded. Everyone went their own way. I never saw those guys again. For years I tried to get on that train. I even went to the station and tried to buy a ticket. And every time I went in there, there would be my wanted poster on the wall, and well, they would recognize me, and I'd have to run for my life again. Finally, I just gave up.
So, what happened to the rest of your gang?
Well, I'm not real sure. Rumors spread like wildfire. Hal was always in a hurry all the time. Eventually, he started running. He ran and he ran and he ran. He ran even when no one was after him, like he was chasing after the wind. Some say he ran himself right into the grave. Pete, well, he eventually panicked over the fact that he might have a heart attack. And then he had a heart attack. Leonard, well, he actually wrote a book about an American dream where people could sit in one spot and run their life within an arm's reach. He eventually laid down and never got up again. Scully, well, he got so dirty and ugly, he actually tried to clean himself up one day. He scrubbed and he scrubbed. He used soap and steel wool even, but it wouldn't come off. Eventually his pores got all clogged up. His sweat couldn't come out anymore, and he drowned. Bart, well, he was so full of himself that he actually wrote a children's book about all of our escapades, which brought the law right to him. And he went to prison, where I think he died. And Tex, well, Tex became a poet, and he used to write poems to win the ladies' hearts. Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm a schizophrenic, and so am I. That was the one that sold a lot. But eventually his two-facedness got him in a lot of trouble with the women. And I don't need to tell you the rest of that story.
What about Tommy?
Oh, yes. Tommy. That one's the saddest of all. He always wanted to be an outlaw, but it was going to be too hard for him. One day he was riding his horse and he hit a bump in the road. It did him in. He just wasn't as weathered as the rest of us.
And you're 130 years old? How did you survive this long?
Well, it hasn't been easy. Oil of ole mainly.
So the Good Nuf Gang just wasn't good enough, huh?
Yeah, that's sad.
That you weren't good enough?
No, that you state the obvious.
Sorry. Reporting from Montana, I'm Tanya Smith.